Hello and welcome back to Beckler Guitars and Repair. Today we're going to be checking out a custom-built Roadhouse Barncaster. This thing's pretty cool. Let's check it out. So this guitar is out of my personal collection, but I just don't find I'm playing it enough. So I decided I might be putting it up for sale soon, so I thought I would document it and review it before I did that. So yeah, this is a pretty cool guitar. This is built by Roadhouse Custom Guitars out of the USA. The builder's name is Mike Key, and he's known for doing a bunch of these like very vintage, old school style designs. Here's a couple more that I found on Reverb of some of his older guitars. Unfortunately, he's no longer in business, but he did put out some pretty cool stuff. So I bought this guitar probably about 5 years ago, and I've done a couple things to it to make it even more unique. So at its base level, so it's a pine body guitar, and this is actually aged pine, so like 100-year-old aged pine. It's a 3-piece body, and you can feel the actual pieces of it. So it's a 3-piece, 1, 2, 3, and it's just got a very thin, it looks like a rub-on finish here. It feels nice and smooth. It's not sticky or anything, but it definitely feels rough, which is kind of what he was going for. It's got a lot of knots in here and stuff. So pine is supposed to be a super resonant wood, especially when it's really old like this, and it's very light as well. This one also has a top on it, and the top is reclaimed wood from an old speakeasy, apparently, where he used to live and it burned down, so he used a bunch of that wood for a bunch of his other guitars. I found a couple other examples with the same type of wood on Reverb. But yeah, it's got a really cool aesthetic. This is like 1, 2, 3, 4 pieces for the top, and it really has that kind of barn door aesthetic going on. It came with a different style of pickguard. It was kind of like an anodized metal pickguard, and it was cool, but I wanted something even cooler, so I went ahead and ordered this custom leather pickguard for it, and I think it really matches the guitar quite well. So this is actually a leather pickguard with some funky leaf engraving on there, and it's bursted as well. It's a pretty neat pickguard. And then I've also got these gun revolver magazine knobs here. I thought that kind of fit well. So yeah, these are just kind of aftermarket parts. I added some compensated brass saddles. I really like these on tellies because it really helps with the intonation. And I also added some boutique pickups here. These are Dominger pickups, and those are his one of his most popular Telecaster style pickups. So, and they're fantastic. They're just top-notch pickups. They sound really, really great. And then as far as the neck goes, it's just a maple neck. It's got a maple fingerboard. It's kind of that vintage tinted lacquer on here. We've got the vintage style machines with the open slot, and one little string tree there. It's a dual action truss rod, and here's the back. We've just got our kind of vintage relic neck plate and the 1-piece maple neck, and then there's the serial number for the Roadhouse Guitar Works logo, Custom Shop USA, with the signature of Mike the builder. So all I've added to this guitar is I've swapped the pickups, because the pickups in here were just kind of generic ceramic no-name ones. They weren't anything special, so I put in some really nice boutique pickups, and I swapped the pickguard to this crazy custom leather one, and I switched the knobs. Everything else is original as Mike built it. So alright, yeah, aside from looking really cool, this thing sounds and plays awesome too. I'm going to go ahead and get some specs here, so let's go ahead. It's fairly light at 6 pounds, 14.7 ounces. Oh, another thing I forgot to mention is I've also installed a 4-way switch into this guitar. So in the 4th position, it turns it into a humbucker, combining both the pickups. So these are the Dominger Golden Gate Boutique pickup set, and they do sound awesome. And then you have the added versatility of having a humbucker option as well. So let me show you what I mean by that. In the bridge position, it's reading a 10.73 for the back pickup. In the middle, this is both pickups combined, so this is a 4.39, and then this is just the neck pickup, which is reading a 7.32, and then the 4th position is a humbucker, and that's reading a 17.72. So yeah, you get lots of versatility with the tones. Width at the nut is a 1.63, so a little narrower than some, and that beefs up to a 2.01. Neck depth at the 1st fret is a 0.88, so pretty chunky. And at the 12th fret, that's a 0.974. Here's a look at the neck profile. So it's a pretty standard C-shaped neck. It flattens out a little bit by the 12th, but stays pretty rounded. And it feels like it's a very chunky neck. So it kind of feels like a 50s style Les Paul neck. And it's a little bit narrow. All right, here's a look at our bridge pickup. So these are those compensated saddles that I added. So this just helps with intonation a little bit. And again, it gets this, the strings to rest kind of where you want them. On the barrel style saddles, sometimes they can slip around a little bit. But yeah, here is the Dominger Golden Gate pickup. So it's just got, it says Dominger Golden Gate, and it's got some cloth wires coming off of there. And yeah, these are really great pickups. If you haven't heard of Dominger before, I recommend you check them out because they make some fantastic pickups. We can see our ground wire is right there underneath the pickup. That leads to the control cavity for grounding. And then you can see our route there. So you can see the pine body at the bottom and our barnyard door, or whatever it is, style top there. And the screws that hold the bridge in place to the body are super aged, super rusty, so they kind of look pretty cool. Right, let's have a look under the pick guard. So yeah, I don't want to pull this too hard here. Let's see, there we go. So there's our Dominger neck pickup, and we've got our 3 wires going to the cavity. One of the wires is for the 4-way switch, and yeah, it's got a larger route here, so you can actually put a humbucker here if you wish. And yeah, it looks nice and clean. And here's a look at our control cavity. So yeah, it's got full-size pots. Those look nice. It's got a big orange drop capacitor, and then our high-quality 4-way switch here. And it's wired up, as I mentioned before, so that in the 4th position, it acts like a humbucker. And then there's a look at our control cavity. Just a nice route, and nice and clean. Alright, here's a look at the neck pocket. So yeah, nice clean route. It's got the builder signature there along with the date, so November 17th, 2017. And we've also got the same date on the neck along with the same signature, and another build date here. So yeah, everything looks good, and the neck pocket is nice and tight, and yeah, fits well. Here's a look at the neck fit here. So yeah, it's nice and tight with no gaps anywhere, which is good to see. Some fenders, even high-end fenders, can have that problem. So yeah. Here's a look at our headstock. So yeah, it's kind of a similar shape to a Telecaster, a little bit different. There's the logo of Roadhouse USA Custom Shop. Another look at our tuners and our string tree. This is a dual action truss rod and a bone nut. And it's got an aged fingerboard to look a little older, but it's in really nice condition. It's got some nice wood grain on the maple, and I just buffed the frets too, so they're super shiny and smooth. And yeah, all the frets are nice and level. And everything looks good there. Condition wise, outside of the natural aesthetic, there's no issues anywhere. No scratches or dings or gouges. And the neck is super clean. No wear marks or dings or imperfections. Everything looks really good. Alright, this guitar has the standard scale length as a Fender, the 25.5 inch scale length, and the standard radius, fretboard radius as a Fender, which is a 9.5. Setup on this guitar is nice. So you can see that there is just a little bit of gap in between the notch straight edge and the fingerboard. So that just shows that the truss rod is set fairly tight. And here in the 3rd fret area, when I use the 3rd fret, you can see that the strings are resting very nicely against that 1st fret. So that tells us that the truss rod is fairly tight and the nut is cut nicely. And then here at the 12th fret, we can see that the low E is a 1.5 millimeters, and at the high E, we're looking at just above 1 millimeter. So that's how I like to set my guitars, nice and low. I like to speed up this part, but if you want to hear it in real time, just play back at 0.25% speed or 25%. Alright, so yeah, nice low action and no fretting out anywhere. So yeah, also the neck feels really good. The fingerboard edges are slightly rolled, so it feels nice and comfortable. And there's no fret sprout at all on this guitar. It's nice and smooth. Alright, let's go ahead and plug it in and see how it sounds. So here's an amp I've been using a lot recently. It's a 1957 Silvertone 1391. It's a 5-watt combo amp. And it's just got a really nice clean sound that really showcases the individual sound of the guitar. So that's what I'm going to be using today. Alright, so let's run through all the tones. I'm going to start in every position clean, and then we'll switch on a little bit of overdrive and see how that sounds. So yeah, these pickups are really nice. It sounds really great clean. I'm going to go ahead and turn on a little bit of overdrive and see how that sounds. Alright, so what are my final thoughts on the Roadhouse USA Custom Shop Barncaster? Yeah, I'm gonna be sad to see it go. It really nails that, you know, Barncaster aesthetic, that cowboy kind of era looking guitar. And yeah, it plays and sounds really nice. I really like the weight. It's super light, and the 100-year-old pine body sounds really great. It's really resonant and has plenty of sustain. It's a really good sounding guitar, especially with those Dominger boutique pickups. Again, those are the Golden Gate Telecaster pickups. I'll put a link in the description if you want to know a little bit more about it. But yeah, they're great. They really nailed the telly tones, like vintage tellies. And having that 4-way switch with the humbucker option is really nice too. And it sounded really good in that 4th position too. Yeah, I really like the pickguard. I picked it out myself. It's that leather, kind of engraved leather pickguard. I think it looks really cool. And as well as the revolver magazine knobs here, kind of accents it quite nicely. And yeah, it's also got aged hardware. It's got, you know, rusty screws and aged machine heads too. These are the Kluson Deluxe machine heads, so those are very nice machine heads as well. They keep the guitar in tune very nicely. And yeah, plays great with nice slow action, and it looks really cool. Pretty nice guitar. If you're interested in becoming the new owner of this guy, it's going to be on the Reverb page, so you can have a look. And if you decide to take it, I think you're going to be pretty happy. It's quite a nice Telecaster. Alright, that's going to be it for today. Thanks for tuning in to Beckler Guitars and Repairs, and I'll have more for you really soon. Thanks a lot.